Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Feeling something before you experience it. Well, I know, for a lot of us, this is super crazy. It's a tough thing. And it's a bit maybe of a semantics game too, frankly, just sort of the wording and, everyone wants these cool little cliches, little quick little 6-second, 6 words, whatever the heck thing, and then you're good. But sometimes a little more explanation goes into it than just this simple, you have to be it or feel it before you experience it, right? We always talk about that in the law of attraction. If you want more love in your life, then you need to be love in your life. If you want more wealth in your life, then you need to be wealth, and you need to feel that way. And then, of course, we talk about imagining, right, from the end, living in the end, right, imagining from all these different things. And it talks about bringing in all the 5 senses. What smell like, taste like, touch, and all that stuff. And then really, we talk about how the feeling that the feeling of your energy, your energetics, is really what does your attracting, right? It's what you think, what you say, what you do is the focus part. It's like, hey, universe, here's the stuff that I'm interested in, what I think, what I say, what I do. That's how I say, that's what I want. And then my energetics is the part that actually attracts it towards me. It's law of attraction. You're attracting it to you based off of the energy, based off of what you send out comes back. That's all you. It's a yo-yo. You're constantly yo-yoing your energy out, back and forth. So when we say we want you to feel something, let's qualify that. Let's explain what, at least in my understanding, that means, right? You guys may have differing things, but this is Dan RadioStyle. I'm just giving you my best interpretation of it. So for a specific person, for example, it's not that I want you to feel them or necessarily feel them physically like I'm embracing and I feel them physically. It's not about that aspect. It's not that feeling. You're not trying to feel a situation. It's like when you're sitting in your room or when you're sitting in the living room, I don't know, your room, living room, whatever makes sense. Do you feel anything per se? I mean, you're not really feeling anything because of just sitting there or because you're in close with someone else in proximity, right? It's not that feeling. The feeling in the case of love of a person is when you imagine being with them, when you imagine in proximity, when you imagine yourself coming up and just wrapping your arms around and hugging them. The feeling in your heart, the feeling, the feeling of love, where a lot of times, and guys, we're not as sensitive typically, but if you're on my channel, you're probably oddly more sensitive than most men because that's just kind of how likes attract likes, right? What we send out is what we get back. So I've got my niche of people that seem to vibe and like what I'm doing, and it's probably because we have a lot more in common than you guys realize. So again, from a man's standpoint, you got to feel it. You've got to feel it to where it makes that, it'll make you sad, it makes you feel vulnerable, it makes you feel weak. Makes you feel like they could own you like that, and they do, frankly, and we all know it, let's be honest. But let's pretend we still continue to think that we actually have control over all of our choices in life. But it's the feelings of it. So when you're trying to imagine them, you imagine what they're looking like, you imagine maybe the touch, you imagine maybe brushing their hair. Out of the way, it was a guy who asked. That's the only reason why I'm very fixated on the females right now, and it's frankly, I'm a guy, and it's more fun to think about, ladies. But you're imagining that whole scene. You see them in their eyes, their love, their smile. Maybe you see that kind of that look when you come in to kiss them, right? Like you're seeing all that, but what you're trying to feel is the love that you feel for them. It's that connection. It's that how I'm going to feel when we're together, right? So, say for example, you've got your specific person, and say you're a month into it. Let's keep it smaller. A month into it, the relationship. You've been dating for a month. Everything's groovy, right? So now when you wake up in the morning, you feel like you have them. You feel like we're together. You don't question that. And I think that's one of the big keys. We'll get back to that in a second. I'm not done with that point, but I wanted to illustrate it from another angle, and then I think that point makes even more sense. So let's talk about wealth. And for those of you that are all about love, wait, it's all about love. No, I know. Give me a second, because money's another thing that many of us, all of us, would love more of. You could be the wealthiest person on the planet, you're probably still seeking more money, and you could be the poorest person on the planet, and you definitely are seeking more money too, right? So the same thing, a little more money, it's a good thing. So what does that mean when you're going to feel wealthier? I want to feel like I'm wealthy. What the hell does that mean? Well, one, this is why I talked about it in a couple videos recently, who you're hanging out with, by the way, when it comes to wealth, when it comes to relationships, all these things, who you're hanging out with, that helps you understand what it's like to be that way. If you've got wealthy people in your life, for example, because you're trying to get more money in your life, and you've got wealthy people in your life, you get how they talk, how they react, what their day-to-day is. They talk about what they did. No, we went on the gala and I took the yacht out for a run last night. So certainly fun. Yeah, I was after landing the Gulfstream at the airport and went ahead and took the shuttled limo down to my, actually we hopped in a helicopter. Let's make it even more crazy. And then I flew down to the yacht and landed on top of it. Yeah, rich, loving it. So you hear how they talk. Now, it's kind of similar to, let's take it down to a very poor person, right? Just for the example, right? Someone that's super poor. And I don't know what that is in your country. I'm going to use just simple numbers here because even in my country, this dollar amount's not even that significant anymore. But if I'm someone that doesn't have very much, maybe I make $10 an hour. I don't know. There's places that's still a minimum wage. And you hand me $100 bill. I'm like, dude, that's like 10 hours of work in one bill. One piece of paper, that's 10 hours of work. That's a lot of money to me. Right? That's over a day's work, cash, no tax, right? And so what you can do is you can take a $100 bill. Hell, let's make it fun for the example. Let's make like 3 of them. You got $300. 3 brand new, crisp, clean. They still smell like not disgusting money, but regular, clean, printed money. Shove it in your wallet, stick it in your purse in the secret hiding place, and walk around and notice how you feel. And I mean literally you're that person that's making $10 an hour. And somehow you got it as a gift or whatever. Find a way to save up $300, $100 really works, and hide it off and see how you feel. Don't spend it. Don't go just instantly to spend it. Walk around knowing no matter what, you've got $100. No matter what, you're covered. You don't worry about money necessarily the same way you did a little bit ago when I had to work 10 hours real quick to get that $100. Right now I know I already got it and it's there safely and I don't need to use it. Savings basically, but it's instant savings, right? It's how you walk around. The same as if you're going to make an additional many thousands, right? So you've got an extra couple $1,000s in the bank. How do you feel when you're that person that's maybe making $30, $40, $50 an hour and now you've got an extra $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in the bank? How do you walk around? How do you feel? You feel like you don't worry about things. You feel like you're not concerned about certain things that you were concerned about when you didn't have as much money. You don't worry about when you go down to the store, ooh, I wanted to get some chicken breasts, but there's those ones over there that are a little cheaper, or, well, these ones look really good, and they look fresh, and they're organic, or whatever. And you get those because you know it's better for you rather than the cheaper ones. Because you don't care. You don't think about it. It's not a concern. That's the feeling. That's how you feel when you're wealthier. It's why it's so hard to get money, because so many of us come from a place of wanting money that it's hard to feel like I've already got it. And when you feel like you've already got it, you attract more of it to you. It's counterintuitive, but that is how it works. You already are wealthy, basically, when you are making more and more and becoming wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. It's like, I'm resonating on myself, right? Like I'm getting better and better and better. And because I'm getting better, I'm actually able to get even better. So I'm getting better faster because I'm getting better. So to circle back around, there's a point here, I promise. When you have a bunch of something, you don't worry about it. What does that mean when it comes to love? When I truly know that I have the love, Neville talks about when you're actually seeing it, and when it's real in your mind, it's real. So a lot of people say, wow, it's real, but how do I feel it? It's real. It's real. I practice all the time. It's totally real, but I can't feel it. All right. So what I'm saying is if it's real and it's actually happening and you're feeling the love you feel for these people, then that is together, by the way. So many of us are like, wow, but I'm not physically with them. Yes, but if you were physically with them, would you love them any less? Would your feelings about them change? Not really, right? If I'm with them or not with them, if I'm at the grocery store and they're at home, I still love them the same. When I walk into the house after we've been together for 6 months and I walk in the house, honey, I got the milk. I don't feel any different. It's lovely to see them. Don't get me wrong. I don't feel any different. But what is different is I'm not worried about if we're going to be together. That is where the feeling becomes a challenge for some of us. We don't realize by loving, I am connected to him right now. I am together with you. That does make it real. It is real. It's no less real to love somebody when they're 100 miles away than to love somebody when they're sitting right next to you. It's the same. So when you're manifesting, you're creating that feeling of love, connection, the connection that matters. You're putting that love together. And the only thing that differs when they're in our lives versus not in our lives is we don't worry about whether or not they're in our lives when they're there. That's the difference. That is the feeling. I don't know how that equates to you. I can't describe that feeling per se, but that's the difference. It's the difference of having money versus not having money. Knowing I have the love of my life versus wondering when I'll have the love of my life. Well, I imagine it every day. I know it's true. Do you? Because you're questioning it really right now and how you're not necessarily sure we're going to be together. I think it's that can cause that. That's the feeling difference. And it's that feeling of confidence. It's that feeling of knowing. It's that feeling of this is mine. I have it now. I don't worry about the price tag. I don't worry about that she posted with a friend. I don't worry about things, do I? Because I know where I stand. I know how I matter to her. I don't worry about it. That's the feeling. How you find that, it's confidence, it's knowing, it's understanding the process, it's understanding that when you feel something and you resonate with them and it hits you so strongly, you start tearing up. I had a good friend of mine, I like to joke about, he's the guy that buys airplanes, which is big airplanes too. I'm talking like 737s and stuff, like giant airplanes, like multi-million-dollar, yeah, I bought an airplane the other day. It's like, really? But he has the same experience with this person that he's interested in. And it's that resonation. I'm like, bro, she's feeling it too. That's why it's so strong. And he's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, you're feeling it and she's feeling it. And that just makes it stronger. And that's those times where it just hits you and you can't like think. You can't walk away. You can't. It's because both of you are loving each other at the same exact second. Thought transmission, thought bridge, connection, all those things. I talk about it a bunch. Look up any of my videos on thought transmissions. I do a bunch of them. That's how you know. That's how you know. No one's going to be able to say, here's proof. No, that's how you know, though. What else explains that crazy strong feeling? Hello? Love. Love is a beautiful thing. Feel it. It is as real as it gets. Doesn't matter if you're on the moon and the love of your life is on planet Earth. You still feel that love the same. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it was 2 lives ago or 3 lives from now. That love for that soul does not change. That's how it is. Love is amazing. Hopefully this helps. That's the feeling we're all talking about. I hope this makes a difference. And if you guys like what I'm doing, please subscribe. Certainly, if you haven't already, I really appreciate some subscribes, like, comment, all that good stuff. If you've got show topics you'd like me to see done, please comment and ask those. I always end up in the old yellow notebook. I love them. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. It's Dan RadioStyle.